Hello and welcome back to the channel. Last week I was in Tennessee in the Smoky Mountains, and I got to tell you, I had the best time. The autumn colors were blazing like I'd never seen them before. And here's the thing, the Smoky Mountains are about 4 hours from my house. And in the almost 30 years that I have lived here, I have never gone there in the fall to see the colors. Why? I have no idea, but I can guarantee you I'm going again next year. And in this video, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about where we went, what we saw, and I'll show you some of the images that I got. And I think you'll agree with me. It was a great place to be last week. So we based ourselves in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which is just on the border of Smoky Mountain National Park. Now, the Smoky Mountains are located on the border between North Carolina and Tennessee. And it claims to be the most popular national park in the country and hosts well over 10 million annual visitors. It gets more annual visitors than the Grand Canyon, Yosemite, and Yellowstone combined. Did you know that? I didn't know that. This beautiful mountain range reaches towering heights of nearly 7,000 feet, but it's famous for its magical smoky haze. We were in the Gatlinburg area for about 5 days. We were attending a photography workshop, so we were out doing photography every single day, which was awesome. On the evening that we arrived, or let's say the late afternoon that we arrived, our first stop was at a place called the Chimneys Picnic Area, which, as the name suggests, is an area for picnicking and some camping. And there's a river that runs through it, and there's a cool bridge that goes over the river. And we stopped there, and lots of trees around it, a lot of mossy rocks, and we were able to put together some great photographs. And here's an example of some of them. And we were just getting started. The next morning, we made our way to the Roaring Fork Motor Trail, which is located about, 15 minutes from Gatlinburg. It is a single lane road through the area. Expect to move slowly at this time of year because there's going to be a lot of cars, but let me tell you, it is worth it. We had a lot of fun there. Now, there was one mishap early in the day. My wife Mona dropped her camera in the river. It was fully submerged, so that made for a very, very unhappy part of the day, but I want to let you know it ultimately had a happy ending, and I'll tell you a little bit about that later. But as for the motor trail, it was pretty much what it sounds like. You went through a very scenic part of the Smokies, lots of little rivers, a lot of little cutoffs where you can kind of stop and take photos. And again, here are some of the images that we were able to get. The next morning, we continued our adventure and we made the 1 hour drive to Mingo Falls. Now, Mingo Falls is not in the Smoky Mountains. It's actually in Cherokee, North Carolina. And I especially enjoyed going there. It is about 2.5 hours away from where I live. I've been there maybe 3 or 4 times. It's always a fun place to go. And if you're prepared to get your feet wet, you can get some awesome, awesome shots. The group had a great time there. The weather conditions were nice. There had been a period of some amount of rain over the previous few days, so the flow over the waterfall was really, really good. And the other good news was that there weren't a lot of people there outside of our group. It's a fairly popular waterfall. A lot of people go there, but on this day, we mostly had it to ourselves, so it was a lot of fun. great things about that area around Gatlinburg and the Smoky Mountains is you really don't have to work that hard to find some great opportunities for some great images. Very often you just got to hop in the car and just drive down the road. And later that day, that's exactly what we did. We drove up Highway 441 and saw some really cool spots. And I also have to add that there was a lot of low hanging mist and clouds, which really created some incredible scenes. And as you'll see from these examples, there were just some great shots to be had. One of our favorite stops during the week was Spruce Flats Falls. And it's a bit of a hike from the parking lot. It's about 1.5 miles uphill. It can be a little rugged. It could be a little rocky. But if you're fairly mobile, you shouldn't have a problem getting there. But man, once you get there, you find out very quickly that it is well worth it. So many different compositions. This is one of those places that immediately upon leaving, you're making plans to go back as soon as you can. It was really that good. Trip to the Smokies is not really complete without a trip to Cades Cove. And when you go to Cades Cove, what you're expecting to find are bears. And that's what we were told we would see. We didn't see one single bear. But that's okay, I've let it go. But it was a moody day, lots of clouds, gray skies, a little bit of drizzle of rain. We took some great shots. There was a lot to see in Cades Cove. Still not happy that we didn't see any bears, but we got some great shots anyways, and here they are. I'll show you one more from Greenbrier Cove, and like Roaring Fork Motor Trail, it was a single lane road. You just explored, you found cool spots. There were rivers, there were some waterfalls, some cascades, and like everything else, if you saw something you like, you stopped, you just took a shot. Really was the very best week. And as I said earlier, we've already made plans to go back next year. So before I say anything else, let me finish off a story. Like, what happened to my wife's camera? Well, as I said, it fell into the river, and that really put it out of commission for the whole week. And she was pretty upset because it was the beginning of the week when it happened, and she was left with the prospect of not being able to participate in the workshop. However, we met some great people on this trip, and 2 people in the workshop. They were a couple. They had an extra camera body and an extra lens. They gave it to Mona, and she had the opportunity to take photos for the remainder of the week. So Tricia and John, thank you. You guys are awesome. Now, as I said, it was an awesome week. The weather for the entire week was perfect for photography. We almost saw no sunshine, which isn't a bad thing. A lot of low-hanging mist, a lot of clouds, a little bit of rain. It was perfect. So my advice is, if you plan to go to the Smoky Mountains at that time of the year, be prepared for a couple of things. One, it is going to be really, really crowded, especially on weekends. During the week, it wasn't bad. And I also found that the rain and the mist tended to keep people away. It was perfect for photographers, but general sightseers generally stayed away when the weather was the way it was. The other thing I would do is prepare for cold weather. It may snow when you're there. In fact, we apparently had snow at higher elevations. We didn't see any ourselves, but there were certain mornings when we got up, it was in the low 30s. So also keep that in mind. And lastly, I'll say is if you're still hanging in there, I appreciate it. And if you've enjoyed any part of this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, leave a comment, would love to hear from you. And please consider subscribing to the channel. I'll close this out by showing you a few more random photos from the week. And until next week, we'll see you.